Welcome to section 3.3, two-step equations with fractions. So yesterday in 3.1 and 3.2, we learned about manipulating equations that involved fractions, and we had to remember things about common denominators, equivalent fractions, and stuff like that. So what we're going to do in this section is we're going to focus more on canceling. So we could do this problem in two ways. You can do it where you first step should always be convert your mixed numbers into improper fractions, and you're going to do that in each of the steps that we show, and then you could subtract 5/3 and then you can multiply by the reciprocal. In high school, they want you to get rid of the fractions. So there is a way that you can eliminate all these fractions by looking at each of the denominators. You have 2, 3, and 6, and you want to find a common multiple, the least common multiple. So the least LCM, least common multiple of 2, 3, and 6 is 6. Now, one way of doing it would be just multiplying all three of them together, but that's very inefficient, and that would give you just a common multiple, not the LCM. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 6 and we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 6. So we have 6 times 1/2 r plus 6 times 5/3 equals 6 times 19/6. And what this does, you'll notice, is, so this 6 here is in the numerator, this 2 is in the denominator, so we're going to cross cancel, that becomes 3. So we get 3r, this is numerator, 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 becomes 3r. These are going to cross cancel, 3 is in the denominator, 6 is in the numerator, so we have 2 times 5, which is 10, and then the 6 in the denominator, 6 in the numerator cancels and leaves you with 19. So this is an equivalent equation to this original problem. So you have 1/2 r plus 5/3 plus equals 3 1/6. That is the same equation as 3r plus 10 equals 19. Which one looks easier, the starting or where we are now? Absolutely where we are now. So now you subtract 10, you get 3r equals 9, divide by 3, and your answer is r equals 3. So what we did here was we multiplied the whole entire equation by a common denominator, or by a multiple that ended up getting rid of each of those denominators. The 6 got rid of the 2 in the denominator, the 3 in the denominator, and the 6 in the denominator. So it's a very nice, efficient way of converting an equation with fractions to an equation with whole numbers, which students tend to like and do a little bit, make it a little bit easier to solve. I'm not saying that you can't stay in fractional work and take this equation, let's copy. I'm not saying, well, didn't mean that. Let's do a new page. So you can take this equation and you could solve it using fractions, fractional work. Minus 5/3. Let's find a common 6 times 2 times 2, negative 10. So you get 1/2 r equals, these cancel, and you get 9/6. Let's multiply by the reciprocal, which is 2. That leaves you with r. 2 and 6 cancel, 3 9/3, r equals 3. So you can do that if you are confident with fractions and you're not shying away from fractions. I'm okay with you using this method. To me, this is more efficient. But I can do either way. 6 1/2 dozen the other. So However, I am going to show you answers by getting rid of the denominators. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8 here. So you have 8 times 1/2 n plus 8 times 3/2 equals 8 times 5/8. The 2 in the denominator cancels with, and you get 4n. The 2 in the denominator, 4, and then you have 4 times 3, which is 12. And the 8 in the denominator cancels with the 8 in the numerator. It leaves you with 5 minus 12. 4n equals, that's -7. Divide by 4. N equals -7/4. Let's get rid of the mixed number. So -5/3 minus 2v equals 7/3. Let's look at the denominators. You have 3, 1, and 3. So I'm going to multiply everything times 3. So I have 3 times -5/3 plus 3 times -2v equals 3 times 7/3. The 3's cancel. You're left with -5. You have positive 3 times -2v, which is -6v. The 3's cancel. You're left with 7. We're going to isolate the variable. We're going to get rid of the -5 by adding 5. -6v equals 12. Divide by -6. V equals -2. We're going to convert to improper fractions. 59/10. We look at each of the denominators, 2, 2, and 10. The LCM is 10. So we're going to multiply everything by 10. So we get 10 times 3/2 k plus 10 times 1/2 equals 10 times 59/10. The 2 cancels with the 10, 5. 5 times 3k is 15k. 2 cancels with the 10 to make 5. 5 times 1 is 5. The 10's cancel, and you're left with 59. Minus 5 minus 5. 15k equals 54. Divide by 15. Divide by 15. A lot of students would leave it as 54/15, but I know 3 goes into 54 and 3 goes into 15. So I'm going to reduce that fraction. 54 divided by 3 gives me 18. And 3 divided by 15 is 5. So my answer is 18/5. Let's convert to mix improper. So that's 5/2 equals 28/31/4. We look at the denominators, 2, 2, and 4. My LCM is 4. In 8th grade, you should know what LCM and how to get LCMs. So we have 4 times 3/2 n plus 4 times 5/2 equals 4 times 31/4. The 2 and the 4 cancels to 2, so you have 2 times 3n, which is 6n. The 2 cancels with the 4. You have 2 times 5, which is 10. The 4's cancel, equals 31. Minus 10 minus 10. 6n equals 21. Divide by 6. N equals 21/6, which can be reduced by 3 again. That's 7/2. Let's convert them. 53/10 equals 1/2 plus 6, 7, 8/3 b. Ooh, I like this one. 10, 2, and 3. So the common denominator, or the common multiple, is going to be 30. So what number is a multiple of 10, 2, and 3. That would be the lowest multiple. So we're going to multiply each thing by 30. So we have 30 times 53 tenths. That looks like a 2. Tenths equals 30 times 1/2 plus 30 times 8/3 b. The 10 and the 30 cancel to be 3. That's 159. I'm going to do that in my head. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 5 is 15. The 2 and the 30 cancel. 15. 15 times 1 is 15. How did I get 15 times 1? By that, whatever is in the numerator now. And 3 and 30, 10. So you get 80b. Ooh, that's a big one. We're going to subtract 15 from both sides. You get 144 equals 80b. Divide both sides by 80. You get 144 over 80 equals b. I'd like to reduce it by 8. Let's see if 144 is divisible by 8. It is. Good. So that gives me 18, and 8 divided by 80 is 10. So I divided 144 and 80 by 8 to reduce to 18 tenths. That can also still be reduced by 2, and you get 9/5. -5/8 equals 5/2 v minus 5/2. Our denominators are 8, 2, and 2. The LCM would be 8. So I'm going to multiply everything by 8. So the 8 and 8 cancel, which leaves me with -5. Oops, sorry, I didn't. Sorry. I didn't show the -5/8 equals 8 times 5/2 v plus 8, because we're doing this is a plus because I'm distributing a positive 8. That negative here is represented right here. It stays with the 5/2. It doesn't go to the 8. The 8 is positive. The 5/2 is negative. All right, let's cancel those. You're left with -5. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 5v is 20v. 4 times -5 is -20. Let's move the constants first. When we're isolating the variable, that's 15 equals 20v. Divide by 20. And we get 15 over 20 equals v. Let's reduce that. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 5 goes into 20 4 times. So we get 3/4. They're already in improper fractions or fractions. We have 12, 3, and 3. So what is a common multiple? Is 12. So we're going to multiply everything by 12. 12 times 1/12 equals 12 times 2/3 plus 12 times 1/3 x. All we're doing is distributing this to each piece of the equation. So these cancel. You're left with 1. 3 reduces. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 goes into 12. 4 times 1x is 4x minus 8. -7 equals 4x. Divide by 4, divide by 4. -7/4 equals x. Everything's still. So denominator is 4. Denominator is 1 and 2. The LCM, the least common multiple of 2, 4, and 1 is 4. Think of multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4. Multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, ... Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, ... And So if we look at multiples, common multiples, you see that each one of those has a 4, a common multiple. And this happens to be the least common multiple. If we continued this 6, 7, 8, you'd notice that they also have the next common multiple would be 8. Now this is a common multiple, but this is the least common multiple. So that's why we chose 4. So now we distribute the 4 to each of the pieces of the equation times -1 plus 4. Remember, we're distributing a positive 4 to 1/2 x. And you notice -3/4, -1, 1/2 x. And then we distributed the 4. So you have 4 times, 4 times, 4 times. So we're just distributing that into each of the pieces. And these will cancel. It leaves you with -3. 4 times -1 is -4. 2 in the denominator, 4 in the numerator gives you 2x. Now we're going to just treat this as a two-step equation with whole numbers, which gives us 1 equals 2x, divide by 2, divide by 2, 1/2 equals x. And let's convert these. So 9 times 2 is 18, plus 8 more is 26 ninths. Right? 9 9 is 18, 8 and 8 is 16, yep. 6, that's 7/3 v minus 1. Let's look at the denominators, 9, 3, and 1. And so our common multiple would be 9. So we're going to multiply everything by 9. So we have 9 times 26 ninths equals 9 times 7/3 v plus 9 times -1. The 9 in the denominator cancels with the 9 in the numerator, which leaves us with 26. 3 cancels with the 9, and we have 3 times 7v, which is 21v, minus 9. 9 times -1. Now we're going to move. We're going to get rid of things being added and subtracted to the variable. We're isolating the variable. So that leaves us with 35 equals 21v. Divide by 21. Divide by 21. 35, 21 equals v. Most students would stop here and not see that that can be reduced by 7. 7 goes into 35 5 times. 7 goes into 21 3 times. So my final answer is 5/3. Come and see me. This can be a challenging section, but it's very important that you understand that this is more of a high school method of solving for the variable when you have fractions. It makes it more efficient. It is less of the common denominator steps. So either way is fine, but you should be wanting to add to your tool belt.